The Boss in the Sauce Show.
Boss in the Sauce Show.
Boss in the Sauce Show.
Boss in the Sauce Show. Here we go.
Ooh, yeah. TCU minus 10.5. The over and under is set at 55.5 right here. Big Sonny Dykes comes in first year TCU. And Carl Dornell, my enunciation probably wrong again, but third-year coach right here, and third-year coaches is one of my favorites, y'all. So what you feel about this one coming off the top, Big Ragoo, and then I'll bounce back in with my notes.
Let's start out with TCU first, because Darnold's been there a day and a half now so far, right? So TCU, we get Sonny Dykes. Now, what does Sonny Dykes do? He jumps in a cab from SMU. He goes across town to Dallas, on the other side of Dallas, and he opens up the door and he walks up and he knocks on TCU's door and says, "Hey, I'm here." So, yeah, a little short cab ride for Sonny Dykes across town to take on the Horned Frogs football program, which, I think he's going to do well over there longer term. The thing with the thing that happened with Peterson, Peterson was there 21 years, probably the longest tenured coach outside of our coach at Iowa. But man, I tell you what, he got Max Dugan to work with, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's got Quentin Johnson, wide receiver, all-world wide receiver over there. So what he does really well is take quarterbacks and bring them along. So and Dugan's one of these guys that he can air it out pretty well. So I think that's going to be a good fit for Dykes right away. Whether that translates to some W's in the early going, I couldn't tell you that. But I think, there's a new and then the other thing was, like, Peterson, when he ran his practices, spring training, spring games and all that stuff, everything was closed doors. Sonny Dykes would say, "Hey, this is y'all's university. Everybody come on in," media, families, so he's kind of opened the university up. So he's it's like a new breath of fresh air, so to speak, over there. So, and they're reacting to it pretty well. So, but he does bring a new defensive coordinator, Joe Gillespie from Tulsa, and he runs a 3-3-5 where they ran the 4-2-6, 4-2-5 in the past. So that's an easy transition, when they make audibles and stuff. And that Tulsa team beat him, Sonny Dykes, twice. So the old saying, if you can't beat him, you join him, right? So he went and recruited this guy to run his defense for him. So I think that's a good look for him over there too. And then, this team here, they kind of gave it up the last 2 years on the defensive side because, TCU is always known for their defense. And, they have played some decent offensive. Max Dugan beat Texas twice in his career right there. So, he's got some bragging rights there. So I like what I think it presents some good opportunities for some spot plays for TCU this year. Now, I know they got him as a big favorite going into Colorado. But you said this is his third year. And this is another team with some major offensive struggles. And I'm talking like some of the worst offense in FBS, like 129, 130, New Mexico State type numbers this team has been putting up, really, really bad. And defensively, they're right there at the bottom too. They're ranked like 126. So they don't have a lot of things going in Boulder. But, they did bring in the offensive coordinator from Minnesota, Mike Stanford Jr. I don't know what he's going to inject into that offense, So there's a lot of holes to fill there. But defensively, like I say, they have their struggles. I don't know. It's a big number. It's a big number. I think they're like 11 points, 10.5, 55.5. So I don't know. It's too many points for me to kind of get involved to take this team on the road to have them favored by double digits. As bad as they were last year, Colorado, they were 3-0 at home. From October, they lost. I guess they lost to USC, and then when they went on the road, they lost like 5, and then TCU was like 0-4 on the road last year too. So over the same stretch. So we'll see. It's an up in the air game. It's going to be a pass for me, but Colorado's got a lot of issues they need to address offensively and defensively. So I don't see. And this is his third year, and he's 8-10 in his tenure so far. So this could be not quite a hot seat year, but going forward, if he doesn't have an improvement this year, if he doesn't make a bowl, they'll start rumbling about this coach here, I imagine.
Yeah, I find in this one, as good as I think it's a lot of. First of all, I think it's a lot of bias in the number at 10.5. I think maybe the books don't know either, and either TCU is going to blow them out or it's going to be a really close game.
They're based on that. They're based on Sonny Dykes' numbers at
exactly,
SMU, the high score.
Exactly. It's all based off of that, and that's where I see too much bias in the number. They do have some issues over on TCU. It's not all, hunky-dory over there or anything like that. They return 7 on offense, 7 on defense, but at the same time, they're switching over defenses because of Joe Gillespie from Tulsa. They're going from a 4-2-5 to a 3-3-5.
Right.
They're doing basically a total overhaul on defense, and they don't know if the players that they have are going to be able to adapt to the system because of the way the system was before. It was built for speed. So they're not really sure how well the whole new system is going to come in right away. So those are big question marks as far, even though he's a great coach, he's coming off good things with SMU. He's starting over again. You got to give the guy room to breathe. And then on Colorado, I totally agree. Even though only thing that I did like about Colorado last year is that they try to contain teams at least in the first half. Like I like at least a beginning effort. At least come out of there.
They're playing in Boulder too. That's a lot of points, man.
Yeah.
Then again, if you ask me if I had to pick a side, I would have to take the double digits.
I probably would take the double digits too, because Dorrell he replaced 80% of his offensive staff from last year. And that was a group, like we said, they only scored 18.8 points a game, but he gets a quarterback a little bit more improved. He gets him from last year, and he even got him backed up by Tennessee transfer JT Stroud.
Yeah, Stroud, yeah.
And then they solid on the offensive line. They got 3 returners, plus they get an Alabama transfer, and they got some more depth. At running back, they're talented with depth as well. And at wide receiver, they're very talented with depth. And they got transferred from Baylor, R.J. Sneed. So they look more decent on offense, definitely than 18.8 points a game from last year. Yeah, and then on the defensive side of things, they were hurt by a transfer. They only returned 4. But sometimes that could be a good thing to get rid of, cut off the fat meat, they say, right? So now they got new people. They got a defensive line that's very talented and experienced. They should be the head of the defense. At linebacker, they got 2 senior returners plus West Virginia transfer who's solid. And in the secondary, they're led by senior Isaiah Lewis, but they have a little young, talented depth back there. So they really could use somebody to step up in the secondary, but it could be the same old song out there. But once again, when teams get beat that play the same type of scheme that he plays, it's usually because the defense on the field too long. Yeah. Some adjustments on offense, them staying on the field, even if they don't score, they stay on the field longer. They allow the defense to be tougher and maybe get you somewhere in some games. So I definitely would. I guess after talking this over with you, Big Ragoo, I think I'm tiptoeing with that 10.5 in my pocket.
Yeah. First look, on paper, when you go back, if you look at last year's numbers, which we're not playing the game last year, going forward, which team's going to make the bigger improvements, in their spots? I think TCU has a better potential, but I think in reality, Colorado has the system already in place, with, some of the pieces, they might have some holes and trying to fill holes and revamp, definitely revamping the offense and defense. Nothing stellar there either, but, they're going to have another year ahead of them. So TCU has to go in there and score points for them to cover that number. And if their defense plays halfway decent, so Colorado, I think they can stay within the number, because I really don't think they're going to air attack everything out. They're going to figure some things out, what's going to work for them going forward early on in the season, too. They're going to work through their kinks, too. So points look good to me there. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I lean on the over, but we don't know exactly what we're going to get out of that offense in Colorado. So
Yeah, when I'm talking points, I'm talking about taking them.
oh yeah. I
Yeah.
take them 10.5.
Yeah.
But that's all I got on that one, man. Let's go on and bounce over.